There is no useless experience, as read by the author. Lesson 7. In the course of life's journey, you will hurt people who may never forgive you. Forgive yourself, learn the lesson, and soldier on. Shortly after my infamous return from the US, a friend of my father's offered me a job in the city. It was not my first attempt at restarting life in Nairobi again. A few months after my return, my parents had attempted to jumpstart my life by sending me back to college immediately. I enrolled in college to study public relations and stayed at various intervals with my cousin Amos Kingwa, Uncle Zaki, and Aunt Carol Libamira. Caleb and Pastor Jackie Wasonga also housed me at some point. They were all excellent hosts, but I wasn't the greatest of visitors because my head was still very messed up by what had happened in America. I couldn't concentrate in class nor shake off that false start. So I found the going really rough and returned to Eldoret in a huff, further nailing my reputation as inconsistent. When the job opportunity came from my father's friend, I jumped at it without hesitation. He was a successful businessman running a very enterprising farm in Nairobi and wanted to give me a soft landing after my run in the land of the free had gone awry. I needed this chance. I was being trolled in Eldoret. I was also used to being independent and needed the space away from my exhausted parents. We were arguing about all manner of silly things, and I was in particular banging heads quite frequently with my dad, Saddam. So I grabbed the offer and off I went to the city in the sun. He gave me a job as his transport manager. It paid only 15,000 shillings, but he provided me with a place to live as well at one of his apartment blocks in Parklands. I was elated. This place was basically a rooftop bed-sitter at the top of the apartment complex with a gorgeous view of the Nairobi skyline. And he charged me no rent for it. On top of that, I was provided with a company vehicle fueled by the farm, and my only other job was to double up as the caretaker of his property. I had no utility bills, as the water and electricity was sorted by the income generated by renting out the spaces in the building. I was in seventh heaven, literally. Initially, I was very committed and grateful for the opportunity, and it took a lot of time with me, mentoring me and coming every weekend to just have a chat as we looked over his properties. He had a lot of trust in me. Sadly, though, I began to disparage the trust and goodwill he had for me by partying every weekend and misusing the company vehicle. As these things are wont to go, I soon acquired a lifestyle that was beyond my means and resorted to pilfering and theft to fund it. I made my own receipt book. My new shady transactions didn't stay hidden for long. A few months into this deplorable behavior, the company accountant flagged my transactions and an investigation was lodged without my knowledge. Less than a week later, my boss called me into his office and asked me whether I had committed the atrocities that I had. I flatly denied. He then presented me with the evidence that he had, and it was irrefutable. I was busted. Cornered, I tried to make apologies and offered to make amends, but he would hear none of it. He asked that I move out of his premises and even provided transport for the same. I was officially persona non grata at his farm. I will never forget the look he had in his eyes as he let me go, and the tears that welled up in his eyes when he said he didn't even want repayment. I had betrayed and hurt him deeply. Years later, when I went to his office to make amends, he didn't have much time for me. Although he didn't overtly chase me away, he just did not want to be bothered with me and had no time for my sorry self. He could no longer trust me, and I completely understood why he took that stand. It was the worst feeling in the world. I hated myself for doing what I had done to him, and for being the kind of person who would do such a hurtful thing. Even now, as I read this, I still feel deep regret for making those bad decisions. It took me a long time to forgive myself for what I did to him. However, In the process, I learnt a painful lesson about betraying people's trust that I carry to this day. There are times you may not be able to repair what you did, but learn from it, forgive yourself, and soldier on, and never, ever do it again.